This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group, and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Mrs. Angela Peabody, founder of Global Women's Peace Foundations. Welcome to our show.
Thank you,
Angela.
Mrs.
Good to see you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. And she wrote this wonderful book, and it is available on Amazon?
On Amazon, on the publisher's website, Zulon Press, as well as Barnes & Noble and in Christian bookstores.
What about Kindle?
Yes, you can purchase it
And
from
it's called
Amazon.
When That Games Froze.
When the Games Froze, yes.
And why this title? And what inspired you to write this book?
Well, first I will cover the title. I chose the title because I did something that I don't think any author has ever done. I took American football, Christianity, and female genital mutilation and combined the three. So the games represent
You're going to have to explain
football.
to us what's the female genital mutilations after you talk about that
I will.
to the audience.
Games represent the ball game, the football games, and when the games froze just means that what stopped it, what ceased female genital mutilation.
So what is that all about, female?
Female genital mutilation.
And what's the purpose of that? Explain to
The-
us a little bit.
The definition of female genital mutilation is the removal, the non-medical removal of the clitoris and the labia in some cultures, the labia majora and the labia minora, which they call in science, they call it the big lip and the small lip of the vagina. And they remove that, all of those parts from the girl.
And why do they do that?
If you
Lack of ignorance?
if
Lack-
if you speak to men
Oh, I don't mean to say lack of ignorance. I meant to say it's ignorance.
yes, it is. If you speak to some men in some cultures, they will give you 1,000 reasons why it's necessary. They might say something like for cleanliness, or they might say the girl is not marriageable if she is not cut. Well, I call that rubbish because I believe that it is done because in those cultures where it's practiced, the men really believe that the woman's body was only intended for reproductive purposes and nothing else, not to enjoy sexual pleasure. So what they do is they remove the one thing that they know will give the woman pleasure, and they do that at a very early age.
It's denying them the basic human right.
Yes, and the United Nations, I was so elated when I was still working on my book when the United Nations proclaimed it a human rights violation.
And obviously this thing is mostly practiced in the part of Africa and not widespread to Asia or Americas or Europe. Am I correct to assume that?
And you are correct at a certain degree, but I want to say here today that people always think female genital mutilation is something that is done in faraway places like Africa. But no, it's right in our backyard, surprisingly. There have been cases reported in Seattle, Washington area, and some years ago, a Nigerian father was taken to prison because he had taken a pair of unsterilized scissors, clipped his 3-year-old little girl's vagina.
But that happened because their culture, they brought that prejudice from them, preconceived.
Precisely so. I'm originally from West Africa, from Liberia,
Okay.
and I know that when we immigrate to a country,
We bring our
cultures, we bring our traditions, we
All of
bring
the
our
above.
foods. Yes,
Yeah.
I still.
In some ways, it's great.
And some things are great. Nothing. I am a firm believer of culture and traditions. I raised my two sons and had them eat fufu, something called fufu, which is a Liberian traditional dish, every Saturday because that's what we do in Liberia.
And what is that food is?
Fufu.
Okay, what is that is?
It's a paste, and it's made from cassava, yuca.
Cassava's bean?
Yes.
Okay, and what's the other one?
Or plantain.
Oh, plantain.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds it's vegetarian.
It's yes.
And so you can kind of dip in with your crackers and eat them?
And eat it, yes.
Oh, wow.
And so traditions like that, I applaud. But female genital mutilation is a tradition that needs to be stopped.
So what's the danger of this practice?
Girls hemorrhage to death. They have infections
and that can spread in the whole body.
Yes, that
As a
can
result, they
lead
could
to
potentially
convulsions.
die and
Yes,
death. Yeah.
yes, and just if you saw a picture of a vagina after it's been mutilated, cut and mutilated, you will not even recognize it. It's totally deformed. It's just a demonic way of doing things.
So what are your organization is doing? What's the missions, what's the goals, and what are the objectives? And to spread this word that this is the wrong thing to do, how do you go about doing something like that and telling the people that this is completely unjustified, this is against the basic human right?
We are raising awareness. For example, the book is a good way to raise awareness. As people purchase the book and read it, they will learn about this practice and they will learn that it is so wrong to do. I want to get American women and men alike so angry to the point where they will write to their congressmen or congresswomen and say, please, what can we do about this?
So what can Congress do about this thing, Angela?
One thing they can do is those nations that refuse to end it, like my native country, Liberia, they can threaten to impose sanctions on them.
But does the sanction work?
Quite frankly, in some cases, it doesn't work. But I think it worked in South Africa for
the
apartheid,
yeah.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, isn't this educational things? That it can be done by showing a face of America, which is a kinder and gentler, and saying, you know, this is against the basic human right. This is a wrong thing to do for children, and give them all the problems all the challenges they face, and all the danger in their health they face because of this.
And this
is an educational process.
It's an educational process.
And that's what we should be kind of getting some money from the Congress to fund this thing, so that we can propagate this message.
Absolutely. This is where my organization and I come in, because we are taking the approach from the educational standpoint, where if you, for example, my own two sons, they are men now, they are both married and happily married, but when they were little boys, I instilled in them, it is wrong to hit a girl. No matter what she does to you, walk away, don't go and report it to the teacher, but do not ever hit a girl. They grew up with that in mind. They would never hit their wives. They never saw their father hit me.
But that's a part of the violence. It has nothing to do with education for them.
But
it is all part of that?
Yes,
it's a part of the package.
Yes, a part of the package. Because my organization focuses on gender-based violence. And according to the UN Charter, gender-based violence encompasses female genital mutilation, sexual assault on women and girls, domestic violence, and sex trafficking. So we focus on those things because they all come under gender-based violence according to the UN. And if we teach them at an early age, and not just the girls, we teach the boys, don't hit a girl. When you grow up, don't have anyone, when you have a little girl, don't have anyone cut your daughter's genitals. It's wrong. They will grow up into men knowing that they are not going to let their girls be cut. They're not going to hit their wives. They will not allow another man to hit their sisters, and they will not market, they will not believe in sex trafficking. So those, and rape, they will know that those principles, those things are wrong. We will teach them principles, and that's why we are building a school in Liberia on my family's land.
In Liberia?
In Liberia, we're building a school. We started off saying that it was going to be an all-girls school. Then we thought about our approach with teaching the boys, the little boys. So we're going to have co-ed classes at the school. We've already broken ground, and we've laid the foundation in my mother's hometown. But we are also going to have a girls' dormitory about 20 minutes away from the school, and they will be bused every morning to the school to sit in the classroom with the boys, but we will bring them back to the dormitory after classes and teach them self-esteem and self-worth and values, and make them out of ladies.
I know that you talked about doing something in Liberia, which is your native homeland. What about the other parts of Africa? That ignorance is there in other parts of Africa also.
Liberia is the flagship.
It is the flagship?
Yes, that's.
But it's a very small country compared to Kenya, compared to Nigeria, compared to other countries.
It is. But guess what? When it comes to female genital mutilation,
they're the leader?
they are the worst.
Oh my
and
goodness.
I'm
That
sad to
surprises
say.
me because the Liberia, maybe correct me, was founded by the American slaves.
Yes.
Am I correct to assume that?
You are very correct to assume
So
that.
they did not bring some of these values that we cherish in America to that part of the world.
They did, and it rubbed on
Oh, okay.
some of my ancestors, some of our ancestors, like mine. However, just remember, they met when my ancestors, my maternal ancestors, went there. They met those cultures. They met the tribal practices.
But this thing going on for hundreds of years?
This is female genital mutilation, FGM, as it is more commonly known, is over 2,000 years old.
Oh my goodness.
So this is something, and people tell me, you have your work cut out for you. And I said, sure, but I've rolled up my sleeves, and my
You got to start from somewhere.
you have to, and I might not live to see it abolished completely. However, if my granddaughters or my great-granddaughters can live to see it end.
You made your contribution.
Yes. Yes.
What do you think empowers the woman? What do we have to do to educate the woman? Say, can they resist this thing if something happened to this young girl?
Well, first of all, education is the key to empowerment of a woman, or of anyone for that matter. And that is why we are going the educational route, to empower these girls so that they will not be susceptible to these different acts and violence against women. Because there are girls, teenage girls, after the 2-decade war in Liberia, there are girls, teenage girls, who believe that the only mean of supporting themselves is to sex traffic themselves. And it's really sad. That is also rampant.
And shameful.
And shameful, yes. And it's even more shameful to know that some of their mothers actually traffic them.
So they're the part of the trade.
Yes. Yes.
Which is wrong.
It's
But
wrong.
do they get a cut of this thing, sex trafficking? Obviously, the mother.
Yes, they get taken care of. They get supported as well by the men.
So the sex trafficking is within the country of Liberia. It goes beyond the borders of the Liberia.
It's within the country.
It's a very small country in terms of population. It's what, 5 million?
Yes, not even that. About 2.5 million.
So it's a very, very small country.
Yes, 43,000 square miles of land.
Now, if an audience wants to help you in this cause, what they have to do, and how they buy their book, and how they can contact you, and all the other information that they need in order for them to help your cause. It's not just your cause, it's everyone's cause.
Everyone's cause. Well, go to our website.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the website.
www.globalwomanpeacefoundation.org, globalwomanpeacefoundation.org. You can even Google it and we will come up. Please visit our website, see all the work that we are doing there, and you will read all about my book. You can even preview it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, just a few pages to know what it's all about, and buy the book.
Okay, so buy the book. What about helping? Do you have a nonprofit organization here?
Yes, we do. We have
What's the name of the organization?
Global Woman Peace Foundation.
Global Woman Peace Foundation.
And we are a 501c3 organization, so whatever you give us, it is tax deductible, even including the book. When you buy the book, every cent that we make from the book will go toward
this cause.
Yes, for this cause.
What made you to get involved and engage in this, what I consider this challenge that you're facing in Liberia, and for that matter all over the world?
When I was a young girl in Liberia,
you have not been victim of this.
I'm not a victim of it.
God bless you.
And thank God, because my parents were Christians, and they, even though this has nothing to do with religion.
The faith, with the religion has nothing to, it's beyond religious boundary.
Yes, but they were educated people and didn't believe in it, and that's what saved my sisters and I. But what made me passionate about not only FGM, but also gender-based violence as a whole, my sister Rose, my late sister Rose, was beaten, literally beaten to death by her husband.
And that's back in Liberia? Not
in Liberia.
And she did not commit any kind of crime to do this thing?
Nothing. He beat her with his bare hands.
Why is that?
Until her body went limp.
Oh, my goodness.
They were just arguing. He was an abusive husband.
And how do people get out of the abused marriages? It's very difficult.
It's very difficult. Women, that's one of the, people think, oh, why she cannot just walk away? It's very difficult for a woman to walk away from this.
Especially if they have children.
Yes, if they have children. But that's where we come in, and that's why we are having workshops and putting it on our website and raising awareness. We're having debates, we're holding forums, and coming on your show to help raise awareness and let women know that you have options. You have options. Your body is a temple. Nobody is supposed to beat on it or hit on it.
What made them so violent, the men in Liberia?
Well,
not all of them are violent.
Not all. My father wasn't. My uncles.
Gentle, kind person.
Yes.
So is this a large segment of the population, husbands are violent, men?
No, not.
It's a very small portion.
Yes, it's a small portion.
What makes them so violent? Is that part of their DNA?
I would think.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming to our show, Angela, and thank you for sharing, and thank you for your leadership. Thank you for what you do, not only for this country, for your community, but for all over the world. This is a cause. Hopefully, they will endure, and you will continue to work to make sure that we can get rid of this ignorance.
Yes, that's
right?
That's
and
what
that's
we're
what we should be fight.
Yes,
and education.
Yes. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much. This is Frank Islam wishing you a great week. Thank you for watching.